There was a time when thinking deeply felt natural, not impressive, not productive, just normal. People would stare out of windows, walk without headphones, sit with questions that had no quick answers. Today, that same silence feels uncomfortable. When nothing is happening, we reach for something. A screen, a scroll, a notification. Not because we need it, but because being alone with our thoughts feels harder than ever. And this raises a quiet, unsettling question. Why does deep thinking feel so difficult now? Not boring, not useless, difficult. Deep thinking is not intelligence, it's not memorization, it's not consuming information. Deep thinking is sustained attention. It's staying with one idea long enough for it to evolve, to become uncomfortable, to contradict itself, to reveal something you didn't expect. It's when the mind wanders on purpose, not by force. But deep thinking requires one rare condition: continuity, a stretch of uninterrupted mental space. And that is exactly what modern life keeps breaking apart. There's a name for what's happening to us: cognitive fragmentation. It means the mind no longer stays whole. It operates in pieces, tiny bursts of attention, constantly switching, never settling. You check one thing, then another, then another. Each switch feels harmless, but the cost is invisible. Your brain never enters depth, only movement. It's like trying to read a book while someone taps your shoulder every 30 seconds. Eventually, you stop trying to understand the story. You just flip pages. We tell ourselves we're good at multitasking, but the brain doesn't multitask. It context switches, and every switch comes with friction, a small delay, a mental reset, a loss of clarity. Over time, this trains the brain to expect interruption, so when there is none, the mind feels restless. Deep thinking now feels slow because our brains have been trained for speed. We consume more information than any generation before us: articles, videos, threads, opinions. But consumption is not comprehension. Deep thinking requires integration, connecting ideas, reflecting, questioning, revisiting. Modern content rarely asks that of us. It gives conclusions without the struggle, answers without the process. So our minds grow full but shallow, informed but unanchored. There's another reason deep thinking feels hard. It's emotional. Deep thinking often leads to uncomfortable places: regret, doubt, uncertainty, questions about meaning. Constant stimulation protects us from that. Scrolling becomes a coping mechanism. Busyness becomes a shield, not because we're weak, but because slowing down requires courage. To think deeply is to risk seeing something you can't unsee. When deep thinking disappears, something else fades with it: creativity, wisdom, perspective. Decisions become reactive, beliefs become borrowed, opinions become loud but thin. A fragmented mind is easier to influence, easier to rush, easier to exhaust. And slowly, without noticing, we lose the ability to sit with complexity. We choose simplicity not because it's true, but because it's easier to process. This doesn't show up as a crisis. It shows up as constant mental fatigue, difficulty reading long texts, shallow thinking despite high intelligence, feeling busy but mentally unsatisfied. You're not broken. You're overstimulated. The solution isn't quitting technology, it's retraining attention. Depth is a muscle, neglected but not gone. Start small. One idea, one question, one uninterrupted stretch of thought. Let boredom happen. Let discomfort surface. That's not emptiness. That's space. In a world that pulls your attention apart, the ability to think deeply is a quiet form of rebellion. Not loud, not viral, but powerful. Because the future won't belong to those who consume the most information. It will belong to those who can think clearly inside the noise. And that skill starts the moment you stop running from silence.